For the Zips Digital Network, Chad Welker here with head coach Julie Jones. And Coach went 0-4 last weekend against Wisconsin Green Bay and UT Martin. But can you just briefly tell me how those matches went besides the result, and what are some of the few positives you picked out of that weekend?
Well, when you go 0-4, there aren't a ton of positives, but I do think that particularly our last game, that we played much better. Day one, well, first of all, our offense was stagnant. We've got out, hit people, and we didn't do that. We were unable to score runs. We scored 2 runs in the first game right off the bat, and then just went, just dormant pretty much. So, we've talked a lot about where we need to be, what our energy level needs to be, what our approach needs to be at the plate to get back in. You can blame it on the fact we hadn't played for 2 weeks. That's crap. We're better hitters than that. So, and then our defense wasn't what I'm not happy with the production of our defense, knowing how good I think our defense is. We talked about that a lot today, actually, when we went over our goals at the beginning, what we do at the beginning of the week, our first practice of the week. So, we've got some work to do. And then obviously our pitching, we're not getting the job done. We're just not getting the job done. However, the last game we gave ourselves a chance to win, and offensively we didn't produce. We played much better defense. We pitched the ball better. We did make a couple miscues defensively. One was pretty costly, but still we had a chance. And that's where we need to be. Our pitching has to hold us in a game just enough to let our offense then take over. So we didn't put it together this weekend, and it showed in the results.
Now, in regards to, I know you said you don't want to make any excuses of not playing for 2 weeks, but this week you've had so far a couple nice days where you've been able to practice outside. Right. How has that benefited you, and will prepare you for this upcoming weekend going into Muncie, Indiana?
Oh, it makes a huge difference on being able to be outside. First of all, you can see where the ball goes. Everything's faster inside as far as how fast you run and how fast you throw the ball and all those kinds of things. So it's real. You see the ball better. Obviously our defense is getting to get balls off the surface that they actually play on, which makes such a huge difference. So being able to be outside, I've always found, has made us a better team once we're outside and we can consistently be there. So our pitchers are pitching in the dirt. When you're pitching inside, your legs have a huge advantage because the ground's not giving as you're moving forward. When you're outside, the ground's giving as you're moving forward, so you have to supply more inertia. It's all physics, right? So here we are now able to do exactly what we need to do in the conditions in which we're going to actually play, and it should help us a lot.
Now, this is opening weekend of Mid-American Conference play. You head to Ball State, doubleheader one day and then single the next. What do we know about the Cardinals and what challenges they're going to pose to you guys this weekend? Well,
they're a good team. They've been solid the past couple years. They're below us hitting-wise in the MAC, above us pitching-wise in the MAC. So we talked about that today, where maybe we just make that a wash, and our defense has to be the difference. I'll take my defense against any defense, as far as we talked today about the fact that we don't have any holes. We've just got to make plays, do what we need to do. Clearly, we've got to make sure that we're swinging at good pitches, getting in hitters' counts, and making sure that we're getting on them, playing our game, putting pressure on. Because when we put pressure on, we're hard. It's hard. Everybody knows we're going to run, and then they play defense differently. So, that makes a difference.
The other thing that's different this week, too, is that you're going to have a midweek doubleheader with Youngstown State next Tuesday. Right. What do we know about the Penguins going into next week, even though, obviously, the focus is on Mid-American Conference play this weekend? Right.
Well, we need to utilize those games to help us continue to build on the fundamentals that we need to be, putting in for the weekend. I'm happy we're playing during the week. It makes a huge difference rather than practicing because, you're actually, everything's game speed, right? It's very hard to simulate that in practice no matter what. It's not hard to simulate the speed, it's hard to simulate the pressure. So the pressure during the week of getting our pitchers live at bats against somebody other than us is it's definitely going to help us. And Youngstown, they're doing pretty well, so we've got to make sure that we're ready. Obviously, we'll look at Ball State first, and then on Sunday we'll be really focusing on what we can do to play and get some wins against Youngstown.
Appreciate the time as always, Coach. We'll talk to you next week as the Zips head to Muncie, Indiana to face off with Ball State this upcoming weekend. To follow the Zips softball team, make sure you follow them on Twitter at ZipsSB, or obviously you can go to GoZips.com for recaps after all the contests this weekend. For the Zips Digital Network, Chad Welker, have a great weekend, and as always, Go Zips.